about IP, and that is again true for the businesses also. If you have a good awareness campaign within your industry, it is highly likely that people would come up with better ideas than in a company which is not that way flashed. And then reward for the successful innovation in terms of either protection, enforcement, whatever is available within the IP policy domain of that country. Organizational aspect, I think the way it goes is that you have basically an IP policy in an organization. This ecosystem within the organization works wherein they decide what to file, what to litigate and what to license. And subsequently what it moves on is within the organization is again an awareness part, the part to do ideation, protection, all those stuff in terms of ideas, and all this together creates an organizational IP strategy. To give a simple example of inbound and outbound is that when we used to work in, we created an ideation platform to capture all the ideas available in it. And mind you, if you do that within an organization, in an organizational ecosystem, you would have tremendous amount of IP generated. And there was a filtration way of filtering those ideas to capture the ideas which were patentable and creating an IP. This system which we developed as an IP ecosystem within an organization worked very well and created a lot of IP for us. Of course, I am speaking of my previous organization. Here we basically don't do those stuff. Key to those learnings, I created a kind of a chronological things for internalizing the IP ecosystem. There are various 3 phases to an organization where you basically do the IP stuff. One is the continuous improvement phase, where you basically align your IP products with the product lines, wherein what you do is the temporal alignment of IP portfolios, creating IP against the product line. So if you have multiple products, you ensure that all the products are probably associated with the IP and you are not overlapping or overstepping the IP of another company. Orientation for harnessing the white space. Something which is left over, have not been rendered, you create a kind of a huge patent landscape, identify where the technologies are not camouflaged and try to protect that as a part of the organizational IP ecosystem for sustainable advantage. And then there is algorithmic planning framework, wherein you do filing of all incremental innovations, whether they later on you use it as a defensive kind of a strategy or an offensive strategy in the organization. And then the next step, which is where the organization would be a consolidation phase, which is usually with the more mature technology organization where the IP has already been created. There have been systems in place which could actually do the continuous improvement phase. They have come over it, where basically the offloading of non-strategic IP assets goes on. So if you have an alignment with a product line and you find that in an open innovation model you created certain IPs which cannot be used in your current business, you basically offload them to either as a spin-offs or as a licensing entities to other one. Reevaluation of the internal IP strategy, which happens that you need to have a continuous evaluation as your strategies change, your IP strategy needs to align to that. And then basically mapping IP with product lines, ensuring current product lines is when enveloped for competitive advantage, because you know that the protection is there only for a specified period of time, so you don't want to lose that competitive advantage. You need to incrementally innovate it, and that is why all successful organizations have a continuous improvement program, or they do file a lot of camouflaging IPs around it, whether it is correct from the other perspective or not. And the last phase of IP, which happens with some more better organizations, is the changing phase, where these strategies are basically are aligned for future in terms of whether what would be the defensive strategy and offensive strategy. There are clear terms of distinguishing between what has to be done in the offensive part and the defensive part. Maybe in the defensive part it could be cross licensing in terms of licensing, and in the offensive part it could be trying to assert on spaces which are open, where there is some kind of an overlap, and then trying to cross license and those stuff. So there are many strategies about that.